All right, joining me right now, Congressman Krishnamoorthi. He is a Democratic congressman from Illinois and a member of the House Intel and Oversight Committees. Good to see you, Congressman. So let me begin by getting your reaction to the president firing these two key witnesses who testified against the president in the impeachment inquiry.
I thought it was disgraceful. It was clearly retribution for them telling the truth, and also a signal to others to discourage or deter or prevent them from doing the same. But what I've learned through this whole episode is that the timbre quality of the character of our public servants is extremely high, and they are going to come forward and speak the truth and tell us and the American public about wrongdoing when they see it.
So during his testimony, Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, the decorated war hero and Purple Heart recipient, drew applause when he talked about how his family fled the Soviet Union when he was a child, how he assured his father that he would be all right because he was telling the truth. Take a listen.
And he would have worried if you were putting yourself up against the President of the United States. Is that right?
He deeply worried about it because in his context, there was the ultimate risk.
And why do you have confidence that you can do that and tell your dad not to worry?
Congressman, because this is America. This is the country I've served and defended, that all of my brothers have served, and here, right matters.
Thank you, sir. Yield back.
So earlier in our interview, Congressman, you said, you believe the firing was a signal to others. And then, we're just reminded about, Vindman and what his father even feared, but that, he was still going forward with telling his truth. So what specifically do you think the message is that the president is sending by these firings?
Well, it's the same type of message that he tried to send by slandering and seeking retribution against the whistleblower, which is if you work in the Trump administration or work in any part of the executive branch and you say anything negative about the president or you come forward and tell the truth, there will be negative consequences for your career. The problem is, for the president, is that when he did this previously with regard to the whistleblower, the opposite of what he intended to happen actually occurred, which is that a parade of people came forward at that point, from Marie Yovanovitch to Bill Taylor to Fiona Hill, and the list goes on, because I really do believe that these folks put their country above their careers, and that's something that unfortunately the president doesn't understand.
So the president also, he didn't stop at Vindman, and Sondland, but Vindman has a twin brother who also worked in the Trump administration, National Security Office. He too was let go. Robert Ray, one of the attorneys who defended the president during the impeachment trial, defending these firings last night here on CNN. Listen.
Is it really in anybody's interest under the circumstances to have the both of them there, or either one of them there? I just, before we jump on the revenge bandwagon, it just seems to me it's sort of time for everybody to move on.
So what is it if it's not revenge?
Well, it's clearly revenge, and I don't think everyone should move on. I don't think we should just kind of wipe it under the rug. I think that this is a classic instance where basically revenge in this case meant not only negative consequences for Lieutenant Colonel Vindman's career, but also for the career of his brother, a loved one, a family member. This is something that you would see in an authoritarian regime, not what should be happening here. And I also believe that, again, this will trigger a backlash. Not what the president is intending, but it will send the opposite message to others to buck up and tell the truth.
Well, all of them in the White House are serving at the pleasure of the president. So
Sure.
If the president says he wants to dismiss someone, whatever the circumstances, is there anything you or your fellow, members of Congress can do?
Well, I think that we have to look at the authorities and the law on this. One interesting thing is that the Deputy Secretary of Defense wrote a letter to Senator Schumer in December, in mid-December, assuring him that there would be no reprisals against Lieutenant Colonel Vindman or anyone else in the employ of the Department of Defense who came forward and testified. Obviously, in my humble opinion, this particular episode is a violation of that assurance, and there's going to be some interesting questions, I'm sure, that are asked of the Department of Defense when they come to the Senate or to the House for either appropriations requests, confirmations, or permission to adjust or modify programs, which they routinely do. So they are going to be grilled, and perhaps there will be consequences there as well.
All right, Congressman Krishnamoorthi, always good to see you. Thank you so much.